Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're gonna have ourselves a 1v1 on Road to Kharkov. Our heroes today are going to be Mr. Taxman66, playing as the Soviets in the blue. And his opponent in the pink or purple trunks is going to be Mr. SPiiTFiiRE88. Both numbers, I'm assuming, is the years the players were born, so, you know, we got experience versus youth, or kind of youth, because not really that young, but, you know. Anyways, I don't actually know, but, yeah, we're going to have ourselves another 1v1 on Road to Kharkov, and we see Mr. Taxman laying down some barbed wire on the walls here for the heavy cover, obviously on the other side that he would not be using, to deny the cover to his opponent. Obviously, you still have all this cover, but, well, his, you know, combat engineers were capturing territory, so that's a neat little, you know, habit to have. It's nice. I mean, they're going to be sitting there useless, just capping. May as well have them do something, and even though you're not, you know, blocking off the entire zone, you're doing a little bit of something, right? Like, for example, here you can't really sandbag over here, because, you know. But anyways, yeah, I like that. Very nice. It's a nice little habit to have, and it'll help them in the long run. If you recall on the finals that we saw last week from the StarCross Cup tournament, we saw that also sandbags were used on the wrong side of cover, not completed. So obviously they can be taken down, but it denies the cover temporarily until it's destroyed. So, you know, it's a nice thing. So anyway, SPiiTFiiRE builds himself two Volksgrenadiers and is then following it up with a Kubelwagen. Kubelwagen, a topic of much discussion in the past. It is no longer, it appears. I mean, I think it's pretty balanced, but yeah, I remember that that kind of Kubel spam and such. It was an interesting time. Anyways, Taxman for his part has gone for 4 conscript squads, the 4th one being produced right now. Right-hand side, conscripts hurrying forward, getting right on top of those Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers going to lose this engagement as they are going to be fighting against combat engineers at the same time. All point-blank range, so the conscripts already have the advantage, and with that, the Volksgrenadier squad is forced to retreat down to 1 man. We'll make it out of there. It's a healthy 1 man, but the Kubelwagen moves up, opening up with its suppression fires on the conscripts, or all the squads there, but they're all in heavy cover, so they're going to take a while. And they're actually going to be adding some damage on top of that Kubelwagen. Center of the map, we do have Storm Pioneers and Volks engaging a conscript squad. Conscript squad down to 4 men, going to lose this engagement handily. It does have some other conscripts nearby that could potentially help, but one is on the far left-hand side, currently capping, while the third one is moving into support. Does manage to get close up to the Storm Pioneers, but the Storm Pioneers are excellent close up, and though they have lost, well, 2 of their men now, reducing their firepower by exactly 50%. They're still going to do a lot of damage close up, and you can see the damage going down. Conscripts already down to 4 men, and with the Volksgrenadiers at range providing some additional support, they're taking quite a bit of punishment. Down to 1 man on the Storm Pioneer squad, forces the retreat, and the second or third, or I don't know what number of conscript squad this is, moves up from the left and comes into support. Kubelwagen coming in to add some firepower to this discussion. Volksgrenadiers taking a beating at close range. The conscripts are also taking a beating, but they do have 3 men behind them to support. Conscripts do end up getting suppressed as they are getting a little bit flanked. You can see there, I mean, it's still cover, but it's, you know, not exactly the right angle, so it still gets the suppression off and the damage. Down to 1 man, forces the retreat. 2 more conscript squads coming out. These are reinforced, as you can see the damage on them. The Kubelwagen is moved to stop the approaching infantry, and the conscripts with 3 men at range are still engaging the Volksgrenadiers up in the front. So SPiiTFiiRE in a very strong position here. Volksgrenadiers behind the Kubelwagen to try to stop any onslaught, and the Volks in the center, down to 2 men, force the retreat, and they make it out. So nobody losing squads just yet. You see Taxman taking some heavy punishment on his conscripts, but for the most part, you know, everything's swell. Sorry. Kubelwagen opening up on the conscripts over here by the barrels. They managed to crawl themselves out of the arc of fire, breaking the suppression and moving back out. The Kubelwagen is still there, so it'll manage to get some more suppression going. Conscripts decide to pop themselves into the house. It is not an ideal situation, as only 1 window is in this direction, allowing them to fight. The Volksgrenadiers are going to be peppering the guy in that window, getting sufficient damage in there to actually kill it quickly. Obviously, it's 1 at a time, but, you know, it'll happen. Second conscript squad is getting kind of a flank, although it is, you know, being affected by the cover, but forcing the Volksgrenadiers to reconsider their target. More conscripts and combat engineers with flamethrowers pushing forward, and the Volksgrenadiers back off as they know they are not in a winning situation. Kubelwagen was set up to cover the approach as it was getting repaired by Stone Pioneers. Manages to stop one of the conscript squads, forcing the retreat as the other infantry pushes through the north. They decide to stop and turn direction back where they came from, as Volksgrenadiers are going to try to capture the center. Conscript squads in the heavy cover of their wall, trying to hold the line. They will not be able to stop the cap, but they may be able to provide a lot of firepower there. Storm Pioneers trying to close the distance. They get themselves into some heavy cover. Heavy cover will not help them against the flamethrower, although their Sturmgewehr rifles rather will, and it's going to be very effective. Storm Pioneers taking some increased damage there on the flames, down to 2 men on the combat engineer squad, and they managed to make it out of there. Conscripts try to hurrah out of the arc of fire of the Kubelwagen. They end up getting caught and are forced again to retreat. While in the far south, we have a sandbag getting laid down there for Mr. Taxman as he captures the cutoff point and removes the southern fuel and munitions for Mr. Spitfire. Center map for Spitfire. We see a retreating Storm Pioneer. Volks just sitting around. Kubelwagen. And yeah, just slow caps. So Taxman deciding to play a little bit passively, just wanting to hold the line and not push for capping. Volksgrenadiers push forward as they are being covered by their second squad. And we see the mechanized regiment headquarters has gone down for Spitfire, and from that he's getting himself an anti-air. Well, actually, no, that's the flak half track, right? Anti-air is the U.S. forces. The flak half-track on the field. Taxman right now has nothing that he can combat it with. He does have access to the anti-tank grenades as he has upgraded that from his HQ. So there's that, but anti-tank grenades alone are not enough to kill a flak half-track. Doctrine has been selected for Spitfire, and that is the Luftwaffe ground forces doctrine. You can see the Fallschirmjägers now on the field. They open up with their FG-42s. I think that's right, FG-42s, right? I think I got it now. And yeah, they forced away that conscript squad from the south. Not before it captured the point, however, so it, you know, it's gonna take them a while to get it back. Wow, I am so tired I can't stop writing. I'm sorry. Flak half-track pushing forward. Conscripts in range are going to throw an 18-8. 18-8 hits, gets damage on the engine, damage on the truck. Another 18-8 going to be tossed here by the conscripts, but it is, well, rather folly as it, you know, it's not going to kill it. We see a third conscript squad coming up. The first conscript squad getting beaten down to 2 men. Flak half-track right there, lying in wait for the approaching conscript squad. It just gets itself peppered and forced to retreat. So yeah, I mean, anti-tank grenades are not vehicle killers by their own right. They have the capability, obviously, of killing if you catch a target at low health, but primarily anti-tank grenades are a snare. You toss it, it does damage, and it damages the engine of your vehicle, your target, ensnaring it a little bit, allowing you to finish it off with something else, like maybe move up an AT gun and shoot it at range because it can't move out of the way fast, or, you know, catch it with your own vehicle and such. But yeah, I mean, it's rarely, if ever, worth it to kill a vehicle outright with anti-tank grenades spamming. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe you can throw 2 at them to add damage and finish it off, but yeah, I mean, there he just ended up losing a lot, and Spitfire punished him for that. He ended up doing a lot of manpower damage, and he lost all the munitions, and the Storm Pioneers just repaired the flak half-track right away, and it's, you know, back to full strength, and it's now going to cover the center without much opposition. Back at base, we see Taxman, well, finally deciding to go for tech, as he's going to need a counter for that half-track. Goes for tier 2, and I'm assuming he's going to build an anti-tank gun right away. Maybe? No? Perhaps? Oh? Oh well, nothing so far. Conscripts, over on the right-hand side, they hurrah forward. They get an 18-8 off on the Kubelwagen, managing to get themselves past the arc of fire of the Kubelwagen, forcing it to turn around. As it moves, it loses its suppression abilities. It needs to stay, you know, in position for a couple seconds for the suppression effects to activate, and because of that, he is able to get that kill. So I mean, in that situation, yeah, I mean that's great. A Kubelwagen is a very light vehicle, takes a lot of damage from the anti-tank gun, and you can do things like that, like and finish it off with small arms fire. But a flak half-track, you're not going to finish it off with small arms fires. It's going to finish off your small arms fires if you just leave them in front of that. Conscript squad down to 3 men, taking again quite a beating. More conscripts moving around, flak shots just flying all over the place, catching another conscript squad. Fallschirmjägers forced to retreat down to 2 men, and we have Volksgrenadiers with Trex now, pushing forward. Conscript squad also getting shot by the flak half-track, and yeah. Behind the lines, conscript squad trying to go for the strategic point here. That's not gonna give him too much, actually not anything at all. But yeah, I mean at least he's capping some points. Because this territory over here is still connecting the center, so all the way here, it's still going to be in supply, right? Storm Pioneers trying to force away these conscripts. They will actually succeed, as Storm Pioneers are very good killers. Conscripts down to 3 men. Managed to get an additional kill on the Storm Pioneer squad, but they are forced off of the field. Black Half-Track going to add its damage on the run, down to 1 man. Can it finish off the conscript? I think it is, because the Volksgrenadier squad is there. There it goes, gets shot in the face, and down goes the conscript squad for Mr. Taxman as he gets his AT gun on the field to try and counter that flank half-track. More Fallschirmjägers getting called in. Or stuff. Up here in the north. They actually set themselves up in the heavy cover of the sandbag that was laid down there by Mr. Taxman. So SPiiTFiiRE utilizing his opponent's emplacements against them. Conscripts flooding onto the field, AT gun in position. Black half-track gonna push forward. Gonna be able to bombard the ones in the center because the AT gun is a little bit too far back, but they do manage to decap the point. And at least with that, they will be able to, you know, stop that bleed a little bit, but, you know. Right-hand side, conscripts pushing. They do force away the Fallschirmjägers down to 1 man. Volksgrenadiers trying to capture the victory point. Victory points are 477 for Taxman, 385 for SPiiTFiiRE. So, I mean, Taxman still in quite the lead there. And a gun crew has been lost. Who is that? Oh, over here. So an MG-34 was called onto the field, and it got promptly eliminated. Something got detonated there. I think maybe a mine? Mine? Yeah, probably. Sorry if I'm out of it. I had a very long night and I'm tired. Flak half-track over on the left-hand side. Combat engineers noticing, oh, look, that's a flak half-track. How about we run? Volksgrenadiers and Fallschirmjägers pushing through the center. Conscripts in there to stop them. A lot of conscripts here. A grenade goes off. Nice little AoE there. Conscript squad down to 1 man. Almost gets itself eliminated. Other squad 5-man strong retreats as well as it saw its brethren get cut down in half by 1 grenade. And they ran in panic. That's just flavor. It's not a mechanic. It doesn't actually happen. There is only one that happens, and I believe that's for the OKW with their officer. It's not on this doctrine. I forget which one it is, but yeah, there's an officer that you can call in that it gives a buff to units around them, but if the entity, the officer itself, dies, it forces the retreat of everybody around him. So it's nice. High risk, high reward. Oh, nice artillery barrage there by the AT gun. Nailing 3, apparently, of the Volksgrenadiers, forcing the retreat. And everybody goes back. Battle group headquarters getting built here for Mr. SPiiTFiiRE. I guess he just wants a little bit of healing. Fallschirmjägers over on the far right-hand side. They catch a conscript squad a little bit out of position. Down to 2 men on the retreat. They are very low in health. Can they actually pick up the kill on that? Shots continue to fly. Oh, they do manage to pick up the kill. And Taxman has a very bad time here as he is now down to 3 conscript squads in total. Does run his 3 conscript squads all together in a nice big blob of Soviet power. Volksgrenadiers unable to stop it. Storm Pioneers trying to stop them as they approach, getting themselves into some heavy cover and opening up with their Storm Gewehr's. URA forward as they go to the victory point. The flag half-track is over on the far left-hand side, just covering the victory point. So they have nothing to fear from in the center as more infantry just moves over to the left-hand side. Up in the north, Fallschirmjägers and Storm Pios are trying to hold the line. The fuel point up in the north is still in Taxman's possession, so the Storm Pioneers are going to move in that direction to try to cap. Volksgrenadiers just sitting around, Fallschirmjägers as well, and in the center, well not center, but south I guess, Combat Engineers are going to go for the cap of the strategic point, once again cutting off that fuel and munitions for Mr. Spitfire. 18A does go off on the flag half-track. Conscripts URA forward and get themselves shot in the face by the flag half-track. Not exactly sure why they're doing that, but, well, they do. Force the retreat, AT gun moves up. Smoke gets popped there by the flag half-track. Remember, if you don't have line of sight, you can always attack ground, and that's what he does, and down goes the flag half-track. A nice pickup there for Taxman, and that removes the biggest threat on the field for Mr. Spitfire, or for Mr. Taxman, I suppose. Fallschirmjägers and Volksgrenadiers converging over to the south as they try to avenge their fallen vehicle. Conscripts trying the best they can to hold the line. The AT gun, oh! Wow! A nice barrage right there. One shot manages to nail a lot of members here. That's about 3 or 4 guys that died. The AT gun, however, is cut off from reinforcements, essentially. There is nobody nearby to help, but a conscript squad is dodging or dashing in that direction. Maxim machine gun has been called onto the field for Taxman, trying to hold the line in the center. AT gun has taken quite a bit of punishment, but it's still at 6 men, so they have only been shut up a little bit. They're wounded, they're retreating for the motherland, and they, yeah, I mean, they're fine. It's a bit of a risky maneuver leaving the AT gun out there, but it did kind of pay off there with that barrage. That was a very nice hit, inflicted a lot of damage to the OKW infantry. More MG34 coming onto the field. Is that? Yeah, that is the Maxim machine gun. The MG34 over here is still there. Not exactly sure why he's calling another one onto the field, as he can just recover the one that is there. The Storm Pioneers are right there. They can actually just go pick it up. But, well, Spitfire decides, you know what? That one is tainted. It's kind of used, so I'm just going to get a new one. I kind of like new. You know, whatever. Doctrine has been selected for Mr. Taxman. That is Soviet industry tactics. An interesting doctrine to select at this point. Usually you see this doctrine more in team games, as one player can utilize it to its most effective, what I'm trying to say is, like, utilize it more effectively as they just focus on spamming vehicles, with, you know, and putting repair stations and such. But yeah, I mean, it does give you access to KV-8 and the KV-2. You don't see the KV-2 too often, but, you know, KV-8 is pretty popular. So, you know, it's not too bad or anything. It also gives you a lot of fuel, so. It's interesting, though, that we don't have Tier 3, at least. You know, usually that's what you see, Tier 3, and spamming a lot of T-34s. MG-34 on the left-hand side, setting up in the sandbags that were placed conveniently there by Mr. Taxman. Going to be covering the left-hand side approach. Right-hand side, we do see a Juera Panzer headquarters getting built for Spitfire. It's a nice little position there for it. It's going to cover, well, quite a bit, actually. You know, it covers the entire approach here, covers the north. Does not cover the point, but it is actually kind of in range to help. And it also kind of covers the strategic point here, so, yeah, I mean, it's always a nice place. Flare getting popped by somebody. I'm assuming that was a tripwire, maybe? Maybe. MG-34, though, getting flanked by conscripts and combat engineers as they pushed forward through the center. There was nothing covering the center, but the combat engineers have been caught by the Juera Panzer headquarters over on the right-hand side. They do manage to decap the point, but they are forced to retreat as they do not want to die. Fallschirmjägers on the left-hand side, managing to force away the conscripts, not before they decap the point, so they'll need to recap it. And on the north, we have a grenade landing on the Maxim machine gun, killing one of its members, splash damaging the rest, and the Maxim machine gun continues to open up on the Volksgrenadiers as they get themselves pinned and are now just lying there on the floor, forced to retreat afterwards. It just gets shot up a little bit. Volksgrenadiers over on the north, they are still shooting at that Maxim machine gun. And Volks in the center is just covering the point as they don't push forward. KV-2 has been called onto the field for Taxman. That is an interesting choice. We also see a Puma getting built for Mr. Spitfire. It'll be interesting to see if the KV-8 can handle a Puma. It does have a turret, but the Puma is very maneuverable, and Pumas are well renowned for, well, for being pains in the asses against, you know, vehicles and such. I have to do this, right? Whose is it? Why does it not show me? Ah. KV-2 now on the field, getting some nice shots off on all the infantry. It is very essentially an artillery gun. It has a lot of range. It actually has a setup mode. It has right there. Firing positions. The entire crew will stop and assist with the loading and firing of the main gun, improving range and fire rate at the cost of mobility. The unit will have a minimum range in this mode. So basically it becomes a siege tank. It just sets up, and there it goes. So Puma rushing forward, trying to get itself behind the KV-2, manages to get it, and does nail it in the rear armor with a nicely placed shot. AT grenade does go off on the Puma. The Puma continues to damage the KV-2. KV-2 turning its big ass turret, gets a shot off on the Puma, and the Puma goes down as the AT gun and KV-2 combined efforts. So the Puma is down, the KV-2 stays alive, has been brought down to about half health, but with combat engineers nearby, they are building tier 4. Interesting choice. Not a bad choice altogether. I mean, Su-85s will help them a lot against bigger targets, bigger vehicles, because I'm not sure how good of a job the KV-2 does against heavier armored tanks. Fallschirmjägers pushing forward into the line of sight of a big-ass gun. The big-ass gun misses completely, so they are quite smart and brave in doing so. Faust going to be going off. Manages to hit the KV-2. The KV-2 is damaged quite significantly, down to about 30% strength and with a damaged engine. Does manage to eliminate the Fallschirmjägers, and more shots fly. Volksgrenadiers is getting themselves eliminated as Spitfire is just sacrificing his infantry, trying to get rid of the KV-2, and that is not a good thing to do. He's getting a little bit desperate, basically. He needs to gather himself and, you know, not just sacrifice units at it, because what did he do here? He sent about 3 squads to his death, like Fallschirmjägers, Volksgrens and such, just to try and get the kill on the KV-2, and didn't manage it. So, I mean, a more cool head would have probably prevailed. Repair station has been set on the field for Taxman, as that has, you know, the effect of the Doctrine. And it allows him to just back off a little bit and get himself into range of repairs. Combat engineers also being brought in. We do have an Su-85 on the field now with the benefit of that Doctrine. Allows it to be built rather quickly. And yeah, it's going to help him out against vehicles. And we see another Puma getting called onto the field for Spitfire. Can't help but feel that the Puma isn't really going to help out too much. He has lost a lot of infantry. So they can protect the Puma. And the Puma has, you know, now another Su-85 to deal with, so yeah. Su-85 pushing forward, going to be targeting the Schwerpanzer headquarters, so that is going to be it for the heavier tanks and infantry. I don't think anything was actually called in from the Schwerpanzer headquarters. Obviously, he has the potential to call in the Königsteiger, but, well, with the fuel that Spitfire has, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. The Puma getting itself right in front of the Schwerpanzer headquarters, taking a shot for it, trying to save its life. Unfortunately, though, it was for naught as the Su-85 just shot the Puma. The Puma moved out of the way and then just continued shooting. Down goes the Schwerpanzer headquarters, and the Puma pushes forward, gets itself shot in the face by the KV-2 as it had already been damaged by the Su-85. And that is, you know, pretty much it. I don't think there's much else that Spitfire can do after suffering such losses. Center map, we also see the artillery gun from the CIS hitting some damage in there on the infantry. Points are 319, or well, 317 to 333, but, you know, army values and such, it's a much different game. KV-2 is just getting itself right in front of those Volks, gets itself shot by the Shrek. The KV-2 trying to turn its turret. Gets a nice shot off on the Volks, killing 2 of its members, but not finishing it off. MG34 is just going to sit there in front of the KV2, get shot as well, and boom, and boom. There you go. Wow. Point was actually pretty dead on, but it only managed to kill one because of the, things there. But the MG34 for Spitfire is strong, is brave, and it will just sit there in the face of the enemy and not move. Now it notices, wait, we're going to die. We probably should retreat, and away it goes. So yeah, I mean, Taxman now in a very dominant position, managing to recover, getting his infantry back in order. Everything's actually back at base, just getting healed up. They're having a little bit of R&R as a conscript squad veteran C3 just moves forward for the fuel. And we see that Spitfire only has 2 Volks and a Fallschirmjäger and Stormpire basically as combat units. So the KV2 is essentially unopposed. The Su-85 can actually go hunting for trucks, but they're all back at the base, so it's going to be kind of hard for them to kill. So yeah, and I'm assuming this demo charge is Taxman's demo charge, right? Problem is it doesn't show me whose it is. There you go. Okay, so yeah, it is Taxman. A little bit of a finicky UI still, but well, enough of that, right? Fallschirmjägers and Storm Pioneers pushing forward on the left-hand side. Conscripts trying to go for the cap of the point. KV2 coming into the rescue. It's actually going to go crush some Storm Pios. Crushes one of them. Chases down the rest. Going to get a shot off on them. And they retreat into the tank. So the KV2 going to be switching targets. Going to get Fausted in the face and damage on the engine. Takes a shot. Kills one of the Fallschirmjägers. But they managed to get out of there. One of them actually managing to skid across the landscape very effectively. That is nice rollerblading there. And the Volksgrenadiers with Trex come up, adding a little bit of extra damage there to the KV2. But the KV2, it's a big fat tank, so it actually takes a lot of punishment. So it doesn't actually, care too much. Su-85 going to be moving forward. Why? Who knows? I mean, it can't actually do anything to infantry, and it's actually focused on only firing on vehicles. Assuming that there may be a vehicle nearby, the half-track has been brought out onto the field for Spitfire, but I mean, it's not going to do a lot. So Taxman just consolidating his forces, getting more repair stations onto the field, making sure that he can get his tanks back into tippy-toppy shape in full working order as quickly as possible, as fast as possible. And a Raketen warfare, the biggest of threats from the OKW, gets brought onto the field. But I feel it's a bit of a too little too late thing, and yeah, I don't see this changing the outcome of the game. The second Raketen warfare is being built for Spitfire, so that'll make Taxman a little bit more careful, but I actually think that this thing, yeah, I'm pretty sure if this thing activates its siege mode, it has, you can just outrange those and hit them from afar. Volksgrenadiers engaging conscripts down south as they were trying to capture the victory point. They're going to push forward themselves, but the KV2 has been alerted. Oh, gets a nasty shot on the Volks, nails 3 of them in one shot. They managed to return fire with their Shrek, not managing to penetrate the frontal armor, really, only doing a bit of superficial damage. KV2 returns fire, eliminates the remaining squad, and Spitfire, well, that's all he has left. So Taxman is going to be sitting there with his points that has captured. He's going to push forward with a little bit of infantry, lay down some mines to reinforce his position. And Spitfire is not even going to try and capture the point, as his brethren got slain there as they were trying to cap. So he's just going to sit here and think about what he's done. He decides that, you know what? That's it. So yeah, he throws in the towel. I guess he threw it a little bit ago, but the game took a while to notice. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.